Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome to Indie Comics Review. This is the show where every week I review 3 indie comic books. If that's the kind of content you find interesting, be sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also, there's a link below to my alternative city shop where I sell comic books that I make, t-shirts that I make, buttons that I make, magazines that I make. You get the idea. All kinds of other cool stuff that I make to help support the channel. So check out the link below. So let's get started right away with the first book, which is Dark Ride. And it is written by Joshua Williamson and drawn by Andre Bresson. And it is on the Image Comics label. Devilman has been the world's premier horror-themed amusement park for over 50 years. Home to the scariest ride ever created, the Devil's Due. But when lifelong fan Owen Seasons begins his first day on the job, he will discover the true horrors happening behind the scenes. The truth about the park's reclusive creator, Arthur Dante, and that the job of his dreams might just be a living nightmare. Dark Ride is a fantastic looking book. It's so thick, it's printed on on high quality paper. It has a cardstock cover, and it's really thick. It seems thicker than your average 32, 28 page book. I didn't count the page, but it seems like a lot of book for your money. But that aside, it looks beautiful. And the subject matter is very interesting as well. This Arthur Dante dude, he had this idea for a horror-themed amusement park way back in the late 50s, early 60s. And everybody told him, that'll never work. And then after this incident happening, this dark incident that happens at the beginning of the book, he somehow gets his wish. Fast forward to the present day, and this young kid, Owen, he has always wanted to work for, or work at, I should say, Devilman, which is the amusement park that Dante created. And his first day of the job, he's just giddy as a kid in an amusement park. And he's being taken around by his supervisor. She's showing him his duties. He's meeting all kinds of people. He meets the son of Arthur Dante, who's just this prick. He's just this entitled, never meet your heroes, right? He's just the cliche of the spoiled rich kid. He also meets a lot of the employees there. Some of them are kind of sketchy, and some of them are kind of friendly. At the end of the book, there's weird stuff that happens, and he's really not sure if he wants to be working there, obviously. And not only that, but there's just a question about what else Arthur Dante is up to, because he's made some dark deal with some kind of entity that has given him success. This book could actually turn into, I think, at least a limited series. It could be a movie, but I think it would be wasted if they only did a movie about this book, because there's so much there. There's backstory as far as Owen, the kid. His family, his mother and father died under mysterious circumstances. There are some employees at the park you could just do more delving into and see what they're up to. And then, of course, there's Arthur Dante and the whole theme of the park. And there's and the park itself it's an entity into itself. There's a detailed map of the park in the back of the book, in the back matter, and I could see this being having to construct this entire theme park. Most of it could probably be models and CGI, so they wouldn't have to actually build all this stuff. But so much could be built into this, and there's so many episodes, if you will, that could be explored as far as this subject goes. Joshua Williamson talks about in the back matter how he's always been a fan of amusement parks, and Disneyland in particular, but amusement parks in general, and a fan of horror. So in effect, he's this Dante character is kind of living his fantasy out in some ways. And the colorists, I never mentioned colorists. It's not that I have something against colorists, but just in the matter of brevity. Adriano Lucas is the colorist on here, and man, they do such a great work. they do such great work on this book that it's just such a team effort. Everyone does a great. The letterer, Pat Brousseau, does a great job on this thing. This is just a masterpiece in my way of thinking, and I really hope that that this really turns into something big, and hopefully it's a good series too. It looks like it's off to a great start. I'm looking forward to getting the store thank you, the one per store thank you issue. Hopefully this new comic book day, so we'll see what happens with that. But good looking first issue, great concept, man. I was thinking this whole time while I was reading this book, oh, this is from sometimes from page one, I just get that feeling that this is a winner right from the start. And I think all three books this week that I'm reviewing, they gave me that feeling. So this is another great week for indie comic books, and Dark Ride leads off with a giant hit right up the middle. The next book is Breyer Number One. It is written by Christopher Cantwell and drawn by Germain Garcia, and it is on the Image Comics label. What if Sleeping Beauty never got her happily ever after, and instead had to save herself? Set in a brutal fantasy world that time forgot, this isn't the fairy tale you know. Eisner Award nominated writer, producer, and director Christopher Cantwell, Iron Man, The United States of Captain America, Halt, and Catch Fire, and rising artist Germain Garcia, Khazar, Lord of the Savage Land, imagine the classic tale as an epic, dark fantasy adventure. Breyer starts off just as your typical fairy tale would. In the illustrations, everything is bright and airy and fairy, and it's just so wonderful. Isn't it nice to be a princess? La-di-da-di-da. And quickly it falls away into just tragedy. And most of us know the story of Sleeping Beauty, who has her finger pricked by a spinning wheel and falls asleep for eternity, unless she is awakened by the charming princess, the charming prince, who all of a sudden awakens her with a kiss. Well, guess what? All that happened up to the point where we got to the part about the prince, and the prince. The prince had other options. I said, do I have to marry this? I guess I do have to marry her, but I don't have to wake her up. So I'll marry her, but he doesn't wake her up. He just had this lust for power, and he's found a way to somehow fandangle his way into the royal family without having to kiss Sleeping Beauty and wake her up. Briar Rose is her name. So time passes. The prince is killed in battle. The whole kingdom falls, and her body is just lying in state in this. It gets overgrown with vines and overgrowth and stuff like that, and she's just forgotten. Time is forgotten. It's been 100 years. She's literally been laying there for 100 years asleep, not dead, but in this state of suspended sleep. And some individual, not shown who it is, some individual cuts through with their sword, cuts through all the overgrowth and all the vines and all that crap, and lays the kiss on her. And after all that time, she wakes up. When she wakes up, whoever it was that kissed her is gone. But all she knows that, first of all, she feels like she's been dead for 100 years. After that feeling passes, and she finds a way to clothe herself and wakes her way into town and tells people that, hey, I'm the princess, feed me, take care of me, yeah, all right, whatever, princess, get the hell out of here, to call the law to get you out of here or something. So she falls into, unfortunately, the clutches of the slaver, this piece of crap guy who's going around picking up wayward people and putting them into slavery, along with this other girl who is Ice Bloods, who are blue-skinned people who live in the north. So they're immediately caged up and taken away by the slaver. A horrible fate. Something happens where the slavers run into some trouble. They temporarily escape, quote unquote, but they're still in this situation where they're kind of screwed. And it's revealed that maybe Briar Rose is her waking up is a harbinger of some doom that she's completely unaware of. So she may just be still yet this victim of circumstances after all these many years. Yeah, Boom is redoing these fairy tales, reimagining these fairy tales. Alice Ever After just wrapped up recently, just in time for Breyer to start. So this is the Alice in Wonderland and the Sleeping Beauty so far. Maybe they'll do Cinderella next. So who knows? They're kind of on a roll here. And it's kind of a brilliant idea to do that with these properties that are in the public domain. And like Alice Ever After before it, I will be sticking around to see what happens with Breyer in future issues as well. I think it's a 5-issue limited series. Boom usually goes the 5 or 6 issue route. Man, look forward to what's happening next from it. And yeah, keep doing those fairy tales justice. Boom, you're on the right track. The last book is Night of the Ghoul, #1. And it is written by Scott Snyder and is drawn by Francesco Francavilla. And it is on the Dark Horse Comics label. Shot in 1936, Night of the Ghoul by writer-director T.F. Merritt was meant to sit beside Frankenstein and Dracula as instant classics. But the legendary film never made it to the silver screen. Just before editing was finished, a mysterious studio fire destroyed the footage and killed the cast and crew celebrating at the wrap party. Forrest Inman is a horror film obsessive who digitizes old films for the famed Aurora movie studio. When Forrest stumbles upon a seemingly forgotten canister of footage, he just might have discovered the remnants of the lost classic Night of the Ghoul. This discovery sends Forrest on a dark odyssey where he's warned by a mysterious old man that the film's ghoul is far more than a work of fiction. It's a very real monster who plans to kill him. Like I said before, this is a week rife with excellent indie comics, and this one is quite possibly the best one. Night of the Ghoul. First of all, Scott Snyder, man, does it again. Francesco Francavilla, man, I love this guy's cover work. And when he does interiors, it's just a special treat. This entire book works from such a dark palette. It shows the film scenes in like a sepia kind of a tone, and then flashes forward into another kind of a dark palette to the present day or whatever the time it takes place in. And man, this is a fantastic work of art here. This guy, this film buff, this horror film buff, stumbles upon this reel as he's digitizing the films that he works with, and he also has done some detective work, and he's sought out this guy at a nursing home, and this guy is under an assumed name, but our hero has decided that, or has discovered, I should say, that, hey, I know who you are. I know you're T.F. Merritt, the famous director. You're just on the down low here. Okay, so Merritt eventually is elusive, and he tries to argue with him, but he comes clean eventually. So once he starts to tell him the story, it's this dark tale of, it kind of reminds you of Nosferatu and the legend behind making of that movie. Maybe that was one of the inspirations. The pacing is excellent. I was so drawn into this book. I mean, it's also much like Dark Ride. It's a very thick book. It's $1 more, but it's worth every cent of it. It's $4.99, and it stands alone. I was thinking like maybe this is a one-shot. I'm not sure, because I was looking for the big finish at the end, where it would just be this catastrophic ending. It just kept building and building and building, and revealing things that are just like, oh my God, this is just like a great movie. But to my surprise, after I get to the end of the book, it is a continued story, and it is, I guess, a limited series, or maybe an ongoing series. I don't know, but probably a limited series. But either way, I was surprised at the end to see, oh, well, there's more. And I was excited that I would have been ready to just be done with it right then and there. But the fact that there's more to come next month makes it even better. Man, just in time for Halloween for all you scareheads out there. Night of the Ghoul is borrows a little bit from reality and just beefs up this fantastic horror story that just gives you chills. There's like this living ghoul that there was a reason that this movie never saw the light of day. Is what the director is trying to tell the guy. Like, this thing is real, and you don't want to be messing with this. So, man, I'm 100% down with the rest of the story of Night of the Ghoul, as well as the other two books that we highlighted this week. So, man, it's a good week. It's a good time to be a comic book fan. Oh, I tell you, Wednesday's the best day of the week. So that's it for this Indie Comics review for this week, folks. Be sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button and turn notifications on if you want to know when I'm making my next video. So until next week, see you guys in the funny papers. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and leave a thumbs up.